When you think of famous brands of synthesizers from the 1980s, usually you think of names like Roland, Moog, Sequential, ARP, the list goes on and on. But most people would not associate the name Philips with a synthesizer. Well, believe it or not, the Philips company based in the Netherlands did in fact create a synthesizer in the mid to late 1980s. And what I'm talking about is this little beast here. This is called the Philips PMC 100 Composer. It's an odd, little, unusual beast. Certainly one of the most unique synthesizers I've ever owned and ever used. Quirky would be the best word to describe this little device that you see me holding here. In a moment, I'm going to be showing you all the features and all the little idiosyncrasies that the PMC 100 is known for. This is certainly an oddity when you think about synthesizers in the 1980s, but it's also a very interesting oddity with a built-in cassette deck, rhythms, voices, and various other features. So let's take a closer look at the Philips PMC 100. The PMC 100 was released by Philips in 1986. And in case you're wondering, PMC stood for Personal Media Composer. It has a Yamaha 2-operator FM chip, very much similar to the classic DX sound. So if you've ever owned a Yamaha DX synth, it's very much along those lines. I was never a big fan of FM synthesis, but that's just my own personal opinion. I'm sure many of you out there are big fans of that sound. The PMC 100 offered a membrane keyboard, and it also had a built-in cassette deck, and this was one of the things that really made the PMC 100 notorious. The cassette deck allowed you to save songs as either sound or data. And this unit came in dark gray, which is the one that I owned, but it was also available in a much rarer white color. It was monophonic, it offered 100 preset melody voices, and the thing about the PMC 100 that really made it shine was the step sequencer. You could see the sequencer on the LCD screen, and notes in your sequence could be easily added or easily taken away to a very detailed degree. And I think if this machine had MIDI out, and if people were able to synchronize the sequencer with outboard machinery or outboard synths or drum machines, I think it would have been a much larger success. But unfortunately, there's no MIDI on this machine, and it was a big flop in terms of sales. And it's kind of easy to understand why. The beats on this thing are incredibly thin, and even by mid-80s standards, the sounds are very weak. I got my PMC 100 in a second-hand shop sometime in the early 2000s, and I paid $20 Canadian for it. You can still see the price tag on it saying $25, but I knew the guy who worked in the second-hand shop, and because he knew me, he gave me a deal, so I got it for even less than the sticker price. Now, something very important about the PMC 100. If you do not have a manual for this thing, it is almost impossible to operate it. And I will tell you that trying to find a manual for this thing in English is extremely difficult. I have been trying to track down the manual in English for years, and it never seems to come up on the internet. If you have a PDF file of this manual in English, please, I would love to have it. Please let me know. I would be forever grateful if you could provide me with the manual for this thing in English. I do have a copy of the manual, but only in Dutch. I don't speak Dutch, so it's not worth much to me. Just some of the specs of the PMC 100. It offered 15 preset accompaniments. There were 2 FM operators per voice. There were no effects. There were 3 preset demo tracks, 25 keys, and in terms of memory, there was memory for 1 internal sequence, or again, you could save to the cassette as data storage. It ran on a 9-volt DC adapter, or you could also run it with 6 AA batteries. Overall, the PMC 100 was a true oddity that most would agree was really not practical or usable in most recordings, but it is still an interesting curiosity that is a true collector's
item. In a moment, I'm going to give you a demonstration of the PMC 100. You will hear the sounds and the beats that this machine could produce. Thank you for watching. I hope you can join us again next time. Please, as always, subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you join our channel. I post new tech reviews all the time, and the best way to stay on top of all the latest reviews is to subscribe. We would love to hear from you. Leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, and thank you for watching. And now, here is a demonstration of the Philips PMC 100.